Welcome to the channel. Thank you to everyone for tuning in. So there is just one day left before the AliExpress Summer Carnival sale is over. So feel free to be annoyed at me as I have 4 watches to unbox for you guys today. I've got a new release by St. Martin which arrived just before the sale started and was featured on my recommendations video. I've got a Baltany which just arrived a couple of days ago along with a brand new Rimalti and a watch from Red Star. Now with the last two, would you believe it if I told you I ordered these just after I released the AliExpress video on the 1st of June. They arrived at my doorstep on the 5th of June. So I was surprised to say the least. Lightning quick delivery all the way from China. So in this unboxing I'll be covering the specifications, dimensions and prices of each of the models and also give you guys a brief look at them and maybe mention anything which stands out as I look at them. And I'll follow up with full reviews after I take some time to assess every aspect of the models and feedback with the pros and cons. So make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss out on the follow-ups. For now, let me take them all out of the boxes so we can begin. Here we go, all 4 watches have been unboxed and cleaned, which is why I'm wearing the white gloves as to not leave any fingerprints when I show you all these watches. As you can see, we've got a fair bit of diversity here. All 4 watches are quite different to each other. So we will start off with the first one. This is the St. Martin SN0140. So this, of course, you can tell what watch is homaging. It's homaging the Zulu timer. And we did see one from Pagani Design, I believe maybe at the start of the year or maybe sometime last year. And you know, it had the standard Pagani Design shortcomings, but the case was quite high quality. So with this St. Martin, I was really happy to see this. Is something which I had hoped St. Martin would do, and this is what we have. So I've got the blue version, as you can see in front of me. It also comes with a green bezel, black dial with gilt combination, and you can also get a black bezel, black dial, and with the gilt. So 3 really nice colors. I've also got a green one on order with the gilt, but that they haven't got that in stock, so I'm just waiting a few more days before I get that. Specs wise, you've got a domed sapphire crystal. You've got a ceramic bezel insert. Now the bezel itself, I usually leave the rotations, you know, for the full reviews, but I'll let you guys hear it. It is a 24-click bi-directional bezel. And it's a very decent rotation. It's not clicky like a unidirectional bezel, of course, but you know, it's quite tactile. You can definitely feel the gaps. And this one, unfortunately, is just a bit off, if you can just see that. But you know, it's very marginally off, and I don't really have a problem with bezels if they're off just by the slightest amount. If it was more than that, then I would definitely call it out. Bezel is quite solid, as you'd expect from St. Martin. Now you also have 200 meters of water resistance. You've got a screw down crown and a screw down case back. I'll give you 0 points for guessing what movement is in this watch. Of course, it's a Seiko NH34 GMT movement, which is in loads of watches now. And in terms of dimensions, it's got really good dimensions. 38mm case, but it is 39mm at the bezel. You've got a thickness of 13.3mm, a lug to lug of 45.5mm, but of course you guys have noticed it does have male end links, which gives you an overall lug to lug of 50.5mm. Now the lug width, another strange one, it's 21mm and it tapers down to 18mm. Now that would have been a problem, I'd say, a few years back, but you do have a lot of 21mm straps available if you want to choose to change the bracelet. The bracelet itself is, you know, St. Martin's usual high quality bracelet. You can see some really nice brushing on there with those polished highlights in the center. It does have screw-in links. Let's see if you can find them. There they are. And you also get a fold over milled internal on the fly adjustable clasp. So, you know, all the premium features that we have seen from St. Martin. So I just want to give you guys a quick once over before we switch over to the next watch. So with the blue, you can see it does have a really nice glossy sunray effect. You've also got a color matched date window, which is nice. You've got an applied chapter ring, which sits where the mini track would be. Some nice polished hour markers. We'll check out the lume in the full review. And yeah, it looks quite nicely made. You've also got printed logo. I don't know if they offer an applied one, but I think the printed one is just fine. So nice bevels on the case, you know, standard brushing. Nice 6.5mm crown. So this is the St. Martin SN0140, and I'll be saving everything else for the full review. So the next one we have is a Baltany. And I'll be honest, with this Baltany, it's not something which, I would have reviewed. I wouldn't have asked for it, but they have sent it. And I've seen quite a few reviews flying around on this particular model. This is called the S014072. So this is a quartz version. I am aware they have done an automatic version previously. And this uses the Seiko VD78 quartz movement with that sub dial at your 3 o'clock. Now, one thing weird which everyone can see is the fact that the dial is turned. They call it the cockeyed dial on their website. And yeah, it's a very unique way to see the time. And it does look quite interesting, something very different. As I said, personally, it's not something which I would wear or even look to review, but I have it in hand, so I'll give it, the full time I need to. So regarding other specifications, you do have a very low dome, very nicely fitting actually sapphire crystal. You got a fully polished case. You also have 50 meters of water resistance with a push-pull crown and an actual screwed-in case back. Now this watch, as you can see, it is fully polished, hence the gloves. Now previously Baltany have used those other leather straps, the ones that are quite generic, and they do feel quite poor in hand. This one feels a lot more different. It's got a nicer texture to it, and it's a bit thicker as well. So it's good to see Baltany kind of up in the game. You've already seen the packaging they're coming out with, which is like a leather watch roll, which is good. So Baltany are trying to step it up. Price wise, this watch is as little as £85 currently, and I think for such a, let's say, unique homage, if I can use that term, it's a good price, and it is a pick up and go. You don't have to worry about winding it, etc. It's very light, which brings me on to the dimensions. It's a 38mm case, and it's only 9mm thick. And you've also got a 38mm lug to lug if you don't include the actual lugs, just the case. But if you include the lugs, it goes up to just 44mm with a 20mm lug width. Now you also have one more color in this. You've got a black version, but I think the silver one looks far more interesting. You can really see the brushing on the dial, and of course those vintage markers which have been sort of debossed into that dial, and that's very crisp, very high quality from Baltany. Really nice silvery dial as well. So that looks very promising, and as I said, I wouldn't get it myself, but having looked at it now, it's quite a nice watch. Now, third in line, I've got a brand new release from Rimalti. This one definitely caught my eye. As soon as I recommended it in that sales video, after I released it, I had to get myself one. And you can see one of the biggest thing here is that they've gone for, well, they've added an I into the name, which now you can say it properly, which is Rimalti. And it's homaging a very stunning watch. You guys know I love Seiko, so it's homaging the 44 GS Seiko. And this watch is just so damn shiny, so many facets on there. It's finished so well. And when Rimalti came out, I'd say about 2 years ago or a year ago, they released so many models, literally one after the other. And I was blown away by the build quality. There were a few hit and misses, but for when they went for these kind of high-end watches that they homage, they did really do exceptionally well. The biggest problem was the name. I don't think Rimalti is any better in that sense, but at least you can read it and say it properly. So this watch comes in a few different dial colors. I believe there's about 5. The one that you see in hand, you've got a dark green with the gilt markers and the handset, and you also have a red dial. You also got a white dial with a blued seconds hand, and I believe you've got a black dial as well. So I opted for the blue one. I think it just gives you a really nice color on there. You can see how the light is interacting with that. But one thing which I am blown away is just the case. I've always said it, we've got more budget brands which homage high-end watches, and sometimes it's not worth it because you can't do that design justice. This comes in at £160, I believe, or just under. So £160, that's insane value for money, because the quality I can see in hand, the quality of the finishing, looking at the bracelet and the case, the bezel, everything about it just looks really stunning so far on under the first impressions. So specs wise, sapphire crystal, Seiko NH35. I believe it's around 100 meters of water resistance. You've got exhibition case back, which is mineral. You've got a fold over milled clasp, as you can see, with 4 micro adjustments. You've got a very premium bracelet with screw-in links. Just check out that bracelet, guys. Very, very nice. And I'd say it's definitely comparable to the finishing and quality that you see on San Martin watches. So this is just around 36 millimeters. You've got a 12mm thick case, which isn't too bad to be fair. So it goes from dress to like sports watch. You've got a very compact lug to lug of 43mm, but these are male end links, but they don't have a negative effect at all. They only bring the lug to lug up to 46.5, which is a bit more reasonable, I'd say. And you've got 18mm lug width for this awesome bracelet. So that case, I'm still, blown away by this case and just how beautiful this watch does look. But unfortunately, I'm going to put it away so I can move on to the next one. Now, similar story with this one. This is the Red Star GMT. And I bought this straight after, I did the recommendations video. I don't think I featured this on there, or maybe I did. I can't remember now. But all I know is straight after I had to get myself one. Now, it's a bullhead design, as you can see. Now, personally, I've wanted a bullhead watch for such a long time. I've seen the Seiko ones. Those are my favorite. Going back from the older automatic chronograph version that they do in this exact case, and even looking at, I think it's the premium one, which is the spring drive. I believe it's the Landmaster, which has the bullhead crown. Now, I always do like this design, and of course, Citizen also do these type of designs. But when I saw this GMT one, I thought to myself, we've seen so many GMTs this year, last year, but this is something quite different. They've used that same bullhead design from the Seiko watches, but they've put the NH34 in there. So I thought, that's definitely worth me at least getting one in, having a look at it for myself, and of course showing you guys. Now, in terms of colorways for this one, you've got this green dial that you can see in front of me. You also got a full blue one, and you also got a Pepsi one. Now, I also did a community post after I purchased mine, and people were asking about the color. I'd say now, looking at the green one, I would go for the blue one perhaps, because it'll be a bit more vibrant, a bit brighter. This green is a lovely shade of green. You can see it's got a bit of sunburst in there on the glow pattern or pattern texture dial. But I think the blue will just come out just a bit more. It'll just pop slightly more. On the bezel, you can see you've got that 50-50 bezel. It's a dark green on the bottom. Great color match so far. And that Red Star logo does stand out so much. But this purchase was based purely on design, purely on nostalgia. Looking at such a kind of unique case which Seiko made back in the day. And of course, that main feature which I like is that bullhead crown. Now, let's talk about the specifications. As you can see, you've got a aluminium flat bezel insert. You've also got a double domed, sort of vintage top hat mineral glass. Now, when I did the community post, a lot of people commented and they said the mineral glass, was a deal breaker because of the price, which I'll tell you guys at the end of this. I don't think mineral glass is a deal breaker for me. I've had a lot of watches. I had loads of entry-level Seiko divers, and you don't really scratch the glass too often. Of course, it does have the capability of scratching, which is why people prefer sapphire. But I think the need for sapphire is more of a value for money thing when we look at watches from AliExpress, because for £60 you can get sapphire and automatic watches and so on and so forth. So we are a bit spoiled when it comes to that. I think it's perfectly fine because, again, it's quite a unique shape to the crystal. It's not one of your off-the-shelf ones, which is probably why they went for a mineral glass over a sapphire. Or maybe they just chose it because of that vintage look, or, because of that, aluminium bezel insert you also get. But that's a very interesting case shape. If you see how it's asymmetrical but on the side, so it's thicker at one end and slimmer on the other. So definitely interesting watch. Now, further specifications, you've got a push-pull crown, 100 meters of water resistance, which I think is a bit rich for a push-pull crown, but what do we know? And then on the case back, it's exhibition, and you can see the NH34 in there. Now, in terms of dimensions, it's fairly well proportioned. This comes in at 42.2 millimeters, which is quite a nice size, to be fair. Thickness of 14.5 millimeters. A lug to lug of 43.2 due to the bracelet, because it's like an hidden bracelet really, so that lug to lug is still quite compact. And then the lug width is actually 18 millimeters, but the bracelet does come out to 21 millimeters. Now, price wise, this is around £160 or around £155. It has changed since I put the post up. And as I said, with the price and the specs, you really got to justify it. It's not just for value for money, it's just the design, because it's quite unique in that sense, because there is no other like it. And I would love to feedback after I give it a full thorough look, check the loom out, check out everything else about it. Well, I can tell you so far, the case is really nice. I can already see the bracelet is going to be the weakest point. I mean, The bracelets on the originals weren't too good, to be fair, but this is, it's taking me back a few years back when we had those really loose sort of Jubilee style bracelets. I think the color of the steel is also letting on that it's probably a 306 steel bracelet. You also got the very dated clasp, with this stamped clasp, which I really don't like seeing. So I think I can see why some people would have a problem with this, because minimum you should have put in a milled clasp, I think, anyway. But you do have strap choices on there which you can go for. But yeah, I really can't say too much because I'm only just looking at it right now. I really need to get back, do a thorough check on this before I give you a solid and sound opinion on this. So that's it for this 4-way unboxing, guys. I've taken up enough of your time. If you find anything interesting, if you're confident enough, then go ahead, purchase whatever you like. But if you want to just wait until I come back with the full reviews, that's the smart thing to do as well. So that's it from me today, guys. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, and I will see you on the next video. Thanks for watching.